The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of Take Shape for Life health coaches or clients. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to healthy living and weight loss will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a physician before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Take Shape for Life team.
All right, well, good evening. My name is Craig Blanchette, and I want to welcome you all to the Habits of Health webinar. I'm a certified health coach with Take Shape for Life, and it's my pleasure to be your host tonight. If this is your first time joining the Habits of Health webinar, a special welcome to you. This webinar is for all Take Shape for Life clients, coaches, and health professionals. But if you don't fit into one of those categories and are simply interested in learning more about optimal health and how we create it, you're welcome. You're warmly welcome too. You may also hear content geared toward those in the initial weight loss phase of their health journey, those in transition, and those in the optimization phase, moving towards a lifetime of optimal health. Take Shape for Life offers more than just weight loss and support tools. We also have, let's see here. We also have, oh man, I lost my place here. We also have much to offer for anyone who is looking for better health in all areas of life. So if you're in the weight loss phase, perhaps the 5-in-1 fueling plan, please be sure to follow the guidelines your health coach set up for you. Did you know that everyone on our program gets a health coach? You might not. So our topic tonight is called You've Got to Move It, right? You probably remember that from the, oh, I can't even remember what that movie was. So it's the cartoon, You Got to Move It, right?
Madagascar.
What's it called?
Madagascar.
Madagascar, that's it. My wife would always say, welcome freaks. And we always, that's one of the things we say a lot. So welcome freaks, right? Anyway, a couple things here that you might not know about. This webinar is being recorded and will be available on your health coach's co-branded website, as well as our YouTube channel, and the audio-only version via podcast within about 48 hours. And so here's a couple of things I'm showing on the screen for video. You can actually just point your web browser to, it's bit, like bit.ly/HOH playbacks. HOH stands for Habits of Health. And if you want to listen to the audio-only version, that is actually, if you go to iTunes or your favorite podcast player, then you search for TSFL and you'll find that, the audio-only versions. So let me tell you a little bit about my story here. This is kind of a before and after. I'm a professional wheelchair racer, and I've been racing, started racing wheelchairs back in 1986. I know it's before some of you were born, I bet. And I was pretty fast and set 21 world records, and I won an Olympic bronze medal. And so I really, really liked racing and going fast. And then I, started a family, and things kind of changed. And so that picture, 2010 there, that had been a few years since I was in my prime, and I'd gained about 50 pounds. And for someone that I'm 3'9", so I'm pretty short. So putting on 50 pounds, I mean, well, the main thing I lost, I think, was my neck, if you notice in that photo there. And then the photo on the right was actually a couple years later. This was at the same race. It's a race they have up in Seattle, from Seattle to Portland, Seattle, Washington to Portland, Oregon. It's called STP. And this was at the halfway point. Both pictures were taken just a few years apart. So you can see a little bit different situation there. So additionally, before we jump into the rest of our content, if you're listening to this recording on a podcast or on a recording later, we hope you find ongoing value of continuing that. But I also want to invite you to join us live, actually right here. You can be part of our discussion. So these Habits of Health webinars are held every Wednesday evening, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. And you can also visit your health coach Brandon's website and ask them for the link to join. But I want to talk a little bit about our conversation and topic tonight is you've got to move it, right? And so these are a couple of pictures of what it's like for me or for anybody that has kind of taken their life back, has taken their health back in their own hands and decided, I call it having more yes days, right? I can have more days where I say yes to the things that I want to do than, possibly what I've done in the past. And so that one is me riding a skateboard at Wheelchair Sports Camp. This is me on a hand cycle. I race hand cycles. That's actually also at Wheelchair Sports Camp. I thought that was a great angle there on the hand cycle. This is the ability to be able to do missions work. I traveled to Africa with my wife and about 15 other people, and we spent 17 days in Africa. And Africa is not a real wheelchair friendly climate, and so I had to do a lot of getting in and out of my chair. And really, if I wasn't in physically good shape, it would have been a lot more challenging. So it just really freed me up to have even more yes days while we were in Africa. And this is me doing rappelling down a zip line in Puerto Vallarta on our, my wife and I, we had our wedding anniversary, our 22nd, a couple years ago. And we did some rappelling down waterfalls, and there was quite a bit of walking. For me, it was crawling between the different zip lines. But if I wasn't in kind of shape, I would have said, it's probably not going to work out. Maybe we'll do some whale watching instead, right? This is a little picture of me water skiing with an adaptive water ski, having some fun out there on the water. Of course, doing a little bit of hiking. Those are my two boys. We went out in the woods for a couple of days and did some backpacking. There's a picture of me in my racing wheelchair. And this is a kind of a favorite of mine. Legs are overrated, right? And legs optional. Maybe that's maybe a fun way of saying that. But anyhow, what we've done here is we've been able to do a lot of things and be able to change really the things that I've been able to do in my life because I have an active lifestyle. And so I want to bring on my co-host tonight. This is Jamie Castro. So welcome, Jamie.
Thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to be on this call.
Yeah, you bet. So tell me a little bit. I know you and your wife lead a pretty active lifestyle. Hasn't always been active, but you've found different ways to be active. And I know one of the things you did in the last few years is you actually relocated to a different climate that was going to be more conducive to an active outdoor lifestyle. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we actually moved out here to the Cape Coral area. Was the first spot in Florida that I came to. And one of the biggest reasons is it was a little more conducive to family life, particularly for Lisa, because the Northwest, as you just recently experienced, is a little bit cold and dreary at times. And so we were looking for a place that actually had more of a tropical 70s, 80s temperature, and that's where we ended up, was in Cape Coral, and then we eventually moved up to Sarasota, which is where we reside now.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And so one of the big reasons to move to Florida, I know, had to do with your active lifestyle. And so, kind of tell me a little bit about the activities that you're able to join in. And essentially, the premise of our conversation here is that we can actually sort of disguise exercise as entertainment, doing things that are fun and enjoyable. And I know you get involved in a lot of things like that in your area, where it is obviously the outdoor climate that gives you pretty much all year round ability to be outdoors.
Well, that's true. I mean, we can go out like today or whatever, and if you want to ride a bike, or if you want to walk, if you want to do some exploring, if you want to do some kayaking, fishing, whatever the circumstances, you can do that. The climate and the temperatures right now allow you to do so. And the experience of it, the inner joy that you get from or receive from doing that is especially with my wife when she goes on our Sea-Doo or jet ski, if you will. She gets a pretty nice grin on her face when she gets a chance to go on that. Mm-hmm. And we've had some other folks who have joined us here on some retreats, and we've put them on that thing. And at first they're a little timid, but then they're like, hey, they're all of a sudden they come out of their shell and they're having a whole lot of fun. So being in a climate that's conducive to that, I'm sure like those who are in other places such as Hawaii, there's a whole lot more you can do when the temperatures are inviting for that.
Yeah. And so one of the things I was thinking about, actually, let's go through, we got a couple of photos here and walk us through these different photos here. Tell us about this one here.
Well, this is a place here. It's called Tree Ump. It's about maybe a half-hour drive from us. And it's a zip line course with a little more of an obstacle course in there. And it can actually be quite, exert quite an exertion to do that. And actually it's kind of fun because I never had done anything like this, but being at a lighter weight, I could actually do that I was surprised that I could. And also Lisa joined me in that, or we were together in this. And she did really, really well. I don't think that that she would have even tried that in about 14 years ago, because she would not have been in a healthy place to do that. So that's one of the things here. Mm-hmm. In this next photo, we're in a place called Curacao, one of the ABC islands, and we're going up to the top, climbing up to the top of this location here. I don't remember the name of I think it was like a small mountain. And some of the places that we had to navigate through were narrow, and this looks like one of them. The person ahead of me right there in that hat is a presidential director, another health coach, Patty Glick, and her husband Mike. They were with us. We joined them actually on this island. So it was one of the adventures that we could. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's some of the things that we may not even think about, that the quality and the care that we take with our bodies can actually affect our memories. Because imagine if I'm sure there was this looks pretty tight, but I'm sure there was some places that were even tighter. And let's say you had 50 pounds extra weight on you. Not only would it be a challenge to get up the hill, but literally it just might be you can't fit, Right. Obviously you have more opportunities to say yes. And I'm sure you made some amazing memories. How about this one?
Well, this was a White River rafting trip that we took in Maupin, and Lisa and I and her family were part of that. I think this was maybe 2-3 years ago. I can't remember the exact date. And it was, we rafted, I think it took us I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 hours. I can't recall, but we went through some nice tranquil areas and some pretty rough spots, but we could do that. And it was fun to have this experience with not only ourselves, but our family as well. So that was that was a joyful time.
Yeah. This looks like another one where you hiked somewhere out. There's no roads I don't see. And so tell me about that one.
Well, my dear wife, my loving wife is likes to explore. And this is one of the hiking trips. I think this is the Punch Bowl area east of Loma Falls. Mm-hmm. And we went up there together and had a good time walking. It was in the Pacific Northwest, one of those times where you can actually do something in the warm weather and not have to worry about being cold. So that's mm-hmm. what we did together.
Yeah, that's I believe Eagle Creek Trail, and the picture of me with my kids on the hiking trip was that exact same trail.
Right. Well, you know how trying that can be. I mean, it can be.
Yeah, it's quite a trail. Yeah. And how about this one here? This is one of my favorite cycling. Looks like. Tell me about this one. Yeah.
Well, every summer, Portland opens up or actually closes their bridges to cyclists. And so the cyclists can go on the 13 bridges, and it can take you a couple of hours to do that. And this was one of the times that I went. I actually rode from our house in Beaverton to the site. So I put in almost not quite 100 miles doing this, and went on a ride, and it was enjoyable because we had other fellow people who were also clients and were enjoying this event. That was a good time then.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So it's that's what's interesting. What I see about these kind of things is obviously you are in a situation where you've moved to a climate that is it is warmer. But quite frankly, it doesn't matter where you live. Even if you live in a cold climate, or in Oregon, our summers are pretty nice. They're definitely not considered cold, but the winters are. And so there's a lot of things that you can do where you can get together with different groups. One of the things that I know that a lot of people will do is they'll get together and they'll go to a mall, just a normal shopping mall, but they go earlier in the morning. And one of the things that happens is they'll just walk around the interior of the mall, around the outside, inside the mall. So it's warm, it's dry, it's lit up, and it's safe. And they'll walk around with some friends. A lot of times there's groups that will meet there to do walking. Lots of things like that where you can do walking clubs. One of the things that's been a big benefit to a lifestyle that is focused on health is creating community. And I know for me, it's been huge to be able to create community and be able to, like, for example, in the winter, I ride hand cycles, and I'm from Vancouver, Washington. And so I like to ride hand cycles quite a bit. And when it's warm in the outside, it's great. But when it's, winter time, it's not so good. We had a couple 12-degree days, and I'm definitely not going out in that kind of weather. And so one of my goals is not only is community, to do something with other people. And I've got a buddy of mine, his name's Leonard. And Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at about 5:55, he'll be at my side door knocking on the door, and I have to be there to open it up. And so that's really good accountability. And he knows that I'm going to get up and I'm going to be waiting for him. Well, we did this other thing. It's really kind of crazy. Let me show you this. Actually, I want to kind of invite you all to this as well. So I decided to take the technology that you're on right now, Zoom. It's another version of Zoom where you can see everybody. And I decided to create an online workout group. And so essentially, the guy up in the top left is from Atlanta. The girl on the top right, I think she's from South Dakota. Dan is in the middle left. He's from Minnesota. And so is Sam. The guy Ken is from New York. Ben Brown, he's from Canada. And the guy in the bottom left, he's from California. So all over the country. And basically, we show up at 6 a.m. Pacific, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And that's the Zoom ID. And we all have stationary trainers. And I have some type of a program, so I'll kind of walk us through a workout. But not only do we get to work out and exercise together, we get to know people and we build community. And one of the things everybody in that picture has in common is we're not as healthy as we want to be, and we're working on it. And we probably love some type of athletic sport. So, by the way, anybody that's watching this, if you want to join us, you're welcome to join us. Even if you don't have a wheelchair, we won't hold that against you. Bring your treadmill or whatever it is, and you can come and actually work out with us. But I want to toss this back to you a little bit there, Jamie, because I know you had some really good ideas for an opportunity where you could, like, you've gotten together with different groups and you've met at different parks and meetup groups. Tell us a little bit about some of your strategies there.
Well, one of the things that Lisa and I have done is we've gotten together with some folks. We've walked around a place here called Benderson Lake. There's individuals who want to have an activity and experience with other individuals doing the same thing. We had an opportunity of an event that took place this past Saturday where it was a benefit. And I think there were an estimated about 2,500 people. You could walk and meet people like that, or you can take, like for instance, dancing, if you will. That's a good way to meet with people. Lisa and I have done that in the past, but we haven't done that recently. But it's a good way to meet other individuals who have a like-minded interest. And like bicycle groups, you were mentioning those individuals that you got together with to kind of an accountability. There's some groups around here as well that do that very same thing. And but there's various activities if you just have the mindset to just go out and do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly it. So think about this. There's even some other things that may be, you haven't thought about. Let's say, for example, you like to do photography. Well, what if you went exploring the wilderness, in really, your mindset is, I'm going to take pretty pictures, right? And don't look now, but you're walking a bunch looking for that special picture, right? Or here's another one that Jamie and I came up with when we were talking yesterday. What if you went, whatever town you live in, you may have lived there a while and you may think you know quite a bit about the town, but what if you made a point this summer to go on a walking tour with some of your friends? And it's, don't call it exercise. You're getting a history lesson by walking around your town, but you're walking, right? Don't do a Segway tour, do the actual walking. And guess what? That's another way to disguise exercise as fun, entertainment, and things like that. And so what I want you just to kind of challenge you, if you're going to be serious, if you're going to be a pro with being healthy, right? Look and investigate ways where you can move your body in ways that doesn't seem like structured exercise. I mean, going to a gym and walking on a stair climber is one way to exercise, but there's lots more than that too. It's funny because I always say, children disguise exercise as hide and go seek, freeze tag, things like that, chase. Those are the things that a lot of kids will do or used to do. And that's really just exercise disguised as fun, right? So anyway, so a couple little things there. One of the things that I know that you talked about yesterday, Jamie, is that prior to the exercise, your mind usually comes up with lots of reasons why it's probably not a good idea.
Well, yes, we can play that mind game, where the mind game can cause us to want to say, well, I really don't want to get up. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning. Do I really want to go out there? And maybe the weather doesn't, you can come up with a whole dozen things, but it's just take the first step, getting out of bed. And eventually by the time you know it, you're either walking, riding your bike, whatever it is just don't let your mind talk you out of something that is going to be beneficial. And that's just, you have power. You actually have power over your mind if you think about it. Mm-hmm. And you'll enjoy it, and you might even find that you really don't want to stop after you get going and you're feeling in the groove.
Yeah, I find that same thing in my life. Every morning at 5:45, I'm like, I really want to sleep in. This bed just seems so cozy right now. It's probably the perfect bed on the planet right now. It's perfect. And I'm like, yeah, but Leonard's showing up and all those guys are showing up online. And I did organize this. I better get up. And I'm telling you, there are so many days when that literally saved my bacon. And by 7 o'clock, we've been working out for an hour. And I'm just so thankful that I did it. And it's just, I don't know, it's just one of those things. So thank you so much, Jamie, for sharing some of your stuff.
Thank you.
How you can move it and how you can be active, and really the example that you and Lisa both are as healthy individuals that are making this a lifestyle. One of the things, just a disclaimer, we've got Stephanie that's coming up next, but a little disclaimer. So if you're on the 5-in-1 program, so you're in the active weight loss, by the way, there's more to this program than the 5-in-1. But if you're in that first phase, right, you're going to be learning some things and your metabolism is going to be working in a very specific way. And so while movement is going to be good, strenuous exercise, you can go to the point of no return where you over-exercise and you can actually overpower the 5-in-1 and slow your progress. So work with your health coach and talk with them and figure out what's going to be right for you where you're at. And then the exciting part, when, not if, but when you get to your goal weight, you're going to transition into the level of activity that you want. You get to decide. And if you want to do triathlons, we can help you with that. If you want to, walk a 5K, we can help you with that. So really this program gets started once you get to your goal weight, and then you start to really see that. But I want to bring on, I've got a photo here. I'm going to introduce my next guest here. Her name is Stephanie, and she is from Salt Lake City, actually. And so Stephanie, why don't you unmute yourself and go ahead and come online and tell us a little bit
Okay.
about these two pictures. Welcome.
Okay. Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Great, great. Man, that girl on the right, she wasn't super excited to get out and do stuff. Um, Something you said earlier really rang true to me, and that was more yes days. That kind of led my mind down a path. As soon as you started talking about yes days, I thought we as women, and maybe men too, I can only really speak from the female point of view, we tend to turn down opportunities to be in front of people if we don't feel our best. So that girl on the left was someone who did a lot of hiding in the house. Um, Friends would ask me to go places and do things, and I did make up a lot of excuses because I wasn't super happy with how I felt in my body and how I looked. Even though I was actually exercising a lot, I just didn't want to be in front of people, if that makes any sense. So that person was actually kind of over exercising and eating right at maintenance level. And then I discovered Take Shape for Life and some new concepts, and actually just used food to get my body right where I wanted it to be. And now exercise is actually really fun. Don't find myself turning down any opportunities these days. So one of the things we did this year that was really great was for Thanksgiving, my family decided to go to Moab and hang out in the Red Rocks. We aren't really big into Thanksgiving dinner, and we never have been. And I thought, hey, I'm turning 40. I get to make my own decisions with what I want to do on the holidays. So we got down to Moab and did a bunch of slot canyons, and we took a bunch of pictures. And it was so great, feeling really present and not feeling ashamed to be in the family pictures. I mean, I showed up in all the pictures this year, which is great. And I think it's fun for the kids to see me in pictures. So that was a big change.
Wow. Such a great story. Thank you for your inspiration and for living it, living the lifestyle that it's just, it's not what you know, it's what you do, and you're doing it. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. So we got our next guest coming up here is, let's see here, Jeff. Let's bring Jeff on. Or did we lose Jeff? I think we might have.
We might have lost Jeff.
Yeah.
Let him know.
That's okay. Actually, it's not a problem. I'll show you guys the awesome picture of Jeff. There's the before and after. He's actually in Hawaii right now, but I think he lives there. But this is a similar story where Jeff, that's just an external view of what happened, but a lot more has happened. Jeff definitely has more yes days because of the decisions he makes to take his life, his life and his health seriously. So I hope you've enjoyed this call. And really, as we're closing up here, I want to encourage you guys to just really think about what it looks like to focus on health, play the long game. Think about, do I want more yes days? And here's what a yes day means to me. I wake up in the morning and someone invites me to go do something. And maybe it's a little bit physical, a little bit hard. Maybe my kids ask me, hey, Dad, let's go for a hike today. Or, let's go, I don't know, climb somewhere, or go rock climbing, or let's go up to a water hole and jump off rocks and stuff. And I like it that if I say no, it's because I have something else scheduled. It's not because my body is not ready, right? And so I make those little decisions on a daily basis over time, and they add up to more yes days. More yes days like, yep, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go work it today. It's going to be a good day. And so I hope this has inspired you just to think about, are there ways where you can disguise exercise as entertainment? Ballroom dancing is one that my wife and my son do a lot of. And that's like, believe it or not, that's exercise. It's actually pretty hard, but you won't notice it because you got the music and all the other stuff and you're focusing on your steps and all that. So it's just this great and awesome time. So think about creative ways that you can do it and make really losing weight. It's pretty cool, but becoming fit and healthy is more than just weight loss. And so think about that and think about the things that you can do in your life where you can actually focus on the quality of health that you have and building more yes days in. So thank you all for joining me tonight. I hope this touched you in a special way and that you were able to be inspired through our guests and the conversation. Thanks, Stephanie. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
The preceding audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some Take Shape for Life health coaches or clients. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to healthy living and weight loss will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a physician before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Take Shape for Life team.